You're meant to be dead.
There have been a few updates since your day.
Welcome back to the channel. We have a lot of news to cover today. First, I want to look at Bitcoin and potential downtrend coming. Is this a head and shoulders form? And we're going to look into that. Why it might not even be that bad of a thing. There is really big news, obviously. I'm sure you've heard about this already. Binance to stop serving US traders following announcement of US dedicated platform. So we'll go over that in this video. We'll look at some more articles about this head and shoulders. And as well, we'll have to talk about Litecoin, what it's doing, having, again, still only about 50 or so days away. Will there be more room to pump? That's what we'll get into in this video. So if you're new to this video, make sure to leave a like, subscribe, turn on post notifications, all the good stuff, and we can just jump into it. So I do want to start off with Bitcoin. One of the most important things I think that we're seeing here is declining volume, which usually is not the best sign. I want to go into more detail here, but you can see back on April 2nd when we had that initial breakout, that first really big breakout from 4K to 5K. That huge candle, that was really like the beginning of optimism. It was about 2.5 months ago at this point. You can see the volume here. You can see how big that was. You can see the volume on that second rally just about a month ago on May 10th. And so you can see the pretty large volume there as well. One thing you do notice as well in between these two large volume candles, I'll pull this up. This one, April 2nd and May right here. You can see the volume for the most part still had some pretty nice spikes and it was overall pretty green. One thing we're seeing now as well is that the volume still, while it's relative or pretty similar to the volume that we had in between these two breakouts, there are some more higher red candles, more sell candles as well. You can see this very large one here kind of right after the second one on May 10th. So people are maybe calling for Bitcoin to pull back a little bit. And if you follow these markets as well, you know, Bitcoin during a bull market can go up for multiple months at a time, as opposed to a bear market where what we saw in the bear market was where pretty much every month it was kind of reversing, you know, up, next month it was down, next month it was up, next month it was down, and so on and so forth. During a bull market, obviously you can go months and months at a time without any major pullbacks. You still get pullbacks any given day, it could be, but they usually get kind of wiped out, erased. Bullish momentum just continues. So if this is really the bull market and we've been in a nice upward trend for about 2.5 months now since the beginning of April, here we are in the middle of June, could that maybe spell time for a pullback? Now, maybe, but I do want to point out something as well. So this is what people are maybe calling the head and shoulders pattern, which I don't think is tradable now because there's not confirmed a neckline break, so it would not be a good idea, I guess, in my non-professional opinion, to trade this. Because from what I know, you want to wait for confirmations, which we haven't received yet. But this, potentially, is what we could see playing out. So this would be the head and shoulders right there. And this is on the daily. Now, I do want to just jump into this article posted on newsbtc.com. So it may be forming a bearish head and shoulders, but here's why it doesn't matter. So I want to skip down and kind of highlight this tweet here. Bitcoin looks like a head and shoulders top, yet it's not confirmed until neckline breaks. Inexperienced traders still trade patterns too early. If neckline resistance breaks, a bunch of early shorts will be offside and I expect a trend continuation. So this is what he's referencing here, the head and shoulders here. And it says why that might not matter. Although the confirmation of this pattern could lead to a sharp price drop for Bitcoin, it is important to note that not all analysts agree of the long-term importance of this technical information or formation. So then a Twitter account, the Wolf of Wall Street's, kind of pointed out to a time when the Dow formed something very similar. You can see this head and shoulders here, up here, and then as seemingly was about to break down, it immediately just bounced back up almost, well, really to where the shoulders were, above that actual shoulder, the right shoulder here. It was a huge fake out. Basically, that was the point of this. And the article just kind of goes to show that just because we have a seemingly apparent pattern forming here doesn't necessarily mean it's going to play out a nice downward move like that. Keep in mind too, if this is the beginning of the bull market, which many people think it is, then again, a lot of this stuff can fly right out the window. And that's why it's important. And that's kind of why I'm talking about this. It's just because it's a possibility. So it's important to kind of keep your eyes on the prize, really. Try and get as much information as you can in order for you to make your best decision for trading or accumulating or whatever it is you're doing in these markets, because everyone has a different approach. So that's Bitcoin, and it really is kind of leading the market again, obviously. Litecoin has decreased or kind of just evened out really after its massive run. Still $131, which is pretty impressive actually. The rest of the market kind of chilling as well. Bitcoin dominance slightly increasing because Bitcoin is going up. So it has broken 8,400 this morning, which is about 3% on the day. However, again, if there's a bigger move coming down, I'm actually hoping for that. This is just my opinion. I'm hoping we do get a move down because I would love to buy more cryptocurrencies cheaper. Now, actually, before we get into the Binance news, I do want to look at Litecoin. First, I want to look on the Litecoin Bitcoin pairing. And you see right now, Litecoin seems to be finding support where it has previously, right around that 1.5% or 1.5% of a Bitcoin price. You can see here that it's played support in the past over the last few years. Major support in 2017, pretty much from December 16th all the way to 6 months later at the beginning of June 2018. When it broke that, it really just went in a free fall, and it went all the way down to 0.5% where it found support and bounced back. So this is a pretty critical area here. You can see it broke here 2 months ago at the beginning of this nice increase here, and then broke through, but it did find some support, about 1% of a Bitcoin, and now we're testing that again to see if we can hold support there. So really, if we just zoom in, you can see here that this is a critical area, 1.5% of a Bitcoin price on the Litecoin Bitcoin pairing. It is something that has been on the charts for years now, so it is definitely valid and relevant there. It is nice to see this volume pretty high. You can see last time it was really much above this was that insane rally from Litecoin to like $100 to $400. So a nice 4x in the middle of the bull market in 2017. So then looking at Litecoin on the daily, and then we can get into the Binance news. Litecoin is continuing on this trend really. And for this, I kind of want to just zoom in on the smaller time frame. So I'll go to the 4 hour. Still holding support above this 50. Moving average right here, clearly way above the 200 moving average. So if a scenario would play out where Bitcoin does have a fake out, maybe the head and shoulders does play out, but then instead of really dropping to new lows, it just continues up higher. That could really help push Litecoin up. But at the same time, the halving is fundamental news, which is something we have gotten very rarely in the last year that affects the price. We have not seen fundamental news really affect the price very positively in the past year, and that was because it's a bear market. But this is actually fundamental news that has seemingly been very much influencing the price here. So again, 52 days and 8 hours away. Less than 2 months here. I think a lot still could happen, and I think Litecoin still has some room to push. I don't think Litecoin will continue to make higher highs up until the halving. I think that it will kind of fizzle out a few weeks before the halving. So, I have it somewhere in this area here, beginning of the month of July, maybe. I don't think it's going to continue to just, here, I'll just draw it on the chart to kind of illustrate what I'm talking about. I don't think it's going to keep doing this, and right here is the halving, and then the halving, and then it's going to go down. If anything, I do think it's possible that the halving, obviously, price does go down, but I feel like it might peak more soon, and then maybe decline going into the halving, similar to like it did last time, as a lot of people are expecting that. And psychology is just so important that I think it'll probably just repeat itself in that sense. But really, honestly, on the charts, Litecoin is still looking pretty good. It broke through the 50 on the 1 hour. I'm kind of testing that. If we zoom in right here, you can see that a little bit, testing the 50 on the 1 hour there. But other than that, Litecoin's really holding up still exceptionally well, especially after how well that it's been performing over the past 2 weeks. Especially with the market the way that it is, you would think a much bigger correction would be needed. And we still might get one. We still might get one like this that we got at the beginning of April. But at the same time, I think we still are transitioning to that bull market. And I really think things are up in the air at this point. What I mean by that is it doesn't have to do any one thing. It really could play out in a variety of different ways. So this was posted by Mary Hewlett on Cointelegraph, but a lot of people are covering this. Binance to stop serving U.S. traders following announcement of U.S. dedicated platform. So it announced today, Binance, that's updated its terms of use. So services for US-based individuals and corporate traders will be done after 90 days, effective on September 12th, 2019. If users who are not in accordance with Binance's terms of use will continue to have access to their wallets and funds, but you won't be able to trade or deposit. So basically what that means is there shouldn't be a rush for you to take whatever you have on Binance off of Binance. However, you never know what could happen. Binance has been hacked before. But the thing is, technically, you're still going to be able to keep your funds on there. And technically, you'll be able to have access and withdraw them. But you won't be able to trade and you won't be able to put more on Binance. But at the same time, this is 3 months away, so again, not a huge rush. Something definitely to get on maybe within the next week or so. It's not great news. Really, it's not. Binance is one of the main exchanges I use personally, and I know a lot of people do use it. Binance, probably the biggest exchange in the world, and that's why it exiting the U.S. market isn't that big of a deal for it, because it has so many markets across the world. But it does say here as well, Binance is establishing a U.S. platform in partnership with BAM Trading Services. So that's probably why this is happening. At the same time, though, this isn't like horrible news, because we still don't have a decentralized exchange, which is kind of the point of cryptocurrency. We're still using Coinbase, we're still using Binance. So maybe this will just help usher in chances for other exchanges to take over or give us some more options. So that's going to be it for this video. If you guys are new, make sure to hit that like, subscribe, turn on post notifications, and I'll see you in the next video.